Good afternoon, world. That one's for you, Brian Harris. But how is everyone doing? Welcome back to another episode of Tanda Tula Sofa Safari. I'm not going in the right direction. Let me go this way. Heading out. It's relatively late now. It's almost 5:30. I was out doing a few bush bites with Luke, and now to focus on showing you some mammalian and floral wonders of the Timbavati. I haven't really been driving a great deal. I was driving last week and got to see this. Then you're right for me to move. Okay. That is right, a black rhino, and not like the majority of my, well, I've only had 4 sightings in 14 years. This one was incredible, just unfazed by our presence. We approached so cautiously. Eventually I had him browsing on the bush willows, and then we got into another position and he just started waltzing up to the car. There was no aggression in his behavior. He didn't seem disturbed by us, and he chose to walk into our space. And that was filmed by Glenn, my tracker, sitting on the tracker seat. That rhino was only a few feet away from the car. It was a sighting I will never forget. Really, really magic, especially for this area, because they're just so uncommon. But you know, we've got to value and cherish every rhino sighting at the moment. Other than that, the River Pride played along quite nicely. I had several sightings of them. Leopards, that was a different story altogether. Really struggled. If I wasn't driving, there were leopards out. If I was on drive, they were hiding. So they're not my friends this week. But yeah, just a nice few days in the bush. A couple with some friends, a couple with some guests, and anyway, back to the business of sofa safaris. We haven't got a great deal of light left. We're just going to bumble around this afternoon and then carry on tomorrow morning. But let's carry on and see what is waiting for us. It's late, but I haven't had my G&T just yet. I just got spiderweb on my nose. Give you an idea of the slowly changing conditions. I've been going on about how lush and green the bush has been for so long, but you can see without rain now for a few weeks, and with us moving into autumn, there is that golden tinge touching some of the grasses. We only need one more good rain and it will all bounce back to life. The bush is looking great still for this time of year, but it's really beautiful regardless of what colour it is. As the sun heads towards the western horizon, we have a pair of white-backed vultures sitting atop a knobthorn tree. Senegalian aggressans, their favourite tree for nesting. They have not got a nest in this particular one, but the female did actually fly off into the nest. And I say female just because I've got a 50% chance of being right. But these are your white-backed vultures. These unfeathered heads, a perfect adaptation for scavenging, being able to stick your head into the carcasses and then easily clean off the blood and muck that may attach to it. It'd be far more difficult to do if you had feathers completely covering that same head. A distinctly winter feeling about these sunsets now. Lovely cool temperature, but it's cloudless skies, crescent moon, and gradation of orange to blue. Just beautiful. Going to be heading back, not a particularly busy afternoon, but we'll be out when the sun is rising from the other side. See you now. Game drives are not done until they're done. Horrible light, but it's like a sizable family of elephants making their way in the twilight to wherever elephants go at this time of day. Quite a lot of little babies on there. There's at least 3 on the road now. And another little one coming through. Just left camp this morning and got a beautiful male kudu browsing just outside the camp. Looks as though he's slowly going to be disappearing though, and that is the magic of the bush, and that they can make a 250 kilogram antelope disappear just like that. And some early morning giraffes enjoying a bit of greenery around the Sharalumi. Mentioned yesterday how the colours are starting to change, but that's only in the grasses. The trees are all still full of relatively nutritious leaves. It's not only the kudus that can disappear in bushes. That one's about to swallow a whole giraffe. There's a little dwarf mongoose on the side of this termite mound. And as you can see from the large holes, it is an inactive one. It is just the perfect place for this guy and his business to live in. And quite a common feature for us to find on the cooler mornings. Whole families of these mongooses sitting on the on the east facing side of these mounds, trying to get this first bit of sunlight to warm up before they head out for the day. Another kudu, you can see here though, has got a covering of mud on his horns, which I'm sure there's a number of different theories as to why they do it. My belief is that it's related to their desire to make those horns and weapons look bigger and more impressive. So they horn the mud, get this coating of mud on it, and it just thickens up the appearance of those horns. Nice to see these guys again. In the middle of summer they become literal ghosts. I mean, you see their tracks, you see their droppings, but you don't see them. But now the conditions are drying a bit, they are popping out a bit more. But this is a beautiful male. Beautiful thick neck. That mane also there to accentuate the size of it. We have all of our European swallows that are perched on this dead tree. Quite a bit of restlessness, all the chirping going on, and this is a process that happens quite often before they get ready to migrate back. It's not long now, only a couple of weeks before they start making their journey back towards Europe. Go sit on the telephone wires there and enjoy a nice, hopefully for your sake, warm summer. Sorry, I need to correct myself. I'm old school, calling them European swallows. They're actually barn swallows, of course, even though they do go to Europe. The majority of these probably going to head towards either the UK, some will go to Russia, others perhaps as far north as Scandinavia, but it's a long flight ahead of them. Most of these barn swallows would usually start their migration north at the end of February, early March. We're mid-March now, so it's by the next couple of weeks they will almost all be gone. But it is just, I think, a case of there having been good conditions, good rains this year, a lot of food, so they're going to maybe hang on a little bit longer, make use of these conditions. I've come all the way to the western part of our reserve today, and you can actually see behind me the grass is still looking very, very lush and very green. Definitely a much greener shade here than in the eastern parts where I typically do my sofa safaris. And of course, because I've come all this way, Scotch found 3 leopards this morning in the east, and Ginger's busy tracking lions. So par for the course that Chad disappears and the leopards come out. But just want to have a little scratch around here, and if those leopards are still going later, we'll pop in there. But so far, rhinos and wildebeest and some kudus that you've seen, but not a great deal else yet. A beautiful battalier eagle. I'm usually more familiar with them flying around and feeling the sun beating down on my neck. It's not going to be long before this one takes to flight and starts gliding on those thermals. But a wonderful sight to see one perched, red face contrasting against the jet black body. I would say one of our most attractive eagles here in southern Africa, if not the most attractive. We have a new hippo for our series and a new hippo for the Timbavati, it looks like. At a dam called Hippo Dam, surprisingly, or I should maybe say unsurprisingly. And we have a mom and a calf. You can see the calf popping up. You can see coming around the back side of mom there. It's quite a tiny tot. Very cute. Obviously something we haven't spoken about is baby hippos, because in our main part of our driving area we only have males. So it's quite difficult if you're missing half of the ingredients to create the babies. But I did chat about it, I think, in a Bush Bites. They're born in the water, they suckle in the water, and they're able to swim before they can walk around. Very often, at least in bigger dams and rivers, when moms have these babies, they move to quiet apart, separate from the herd, because when those herds are clustered together, there's a strong potential that that baby could end up getting crushed by an outbreak of activity and movement. So they like being a little bit more on their own, and then at night mom and baby will go off grazing. Obviously mom won't walk as far when the baby is present as she would were she on her own. And I say they can swim before they can walk. Everyone's going, hippos can't swim. At least I hope you are, because I've told you that before. But they can move in the water before they can move on land, would probably have been better wording. Let's see where they come up. Yeah, also nursing underwater, so they'll go under and drink milk. Obviously their lung capacity is going to be considerably less than the adults, so they will have to come up for breaths more regularly. This one doesn't seem to be enjoying all of mom's activity at the moment, although we are. Don't know whether it will do it, but you'll often see them just using mom's back as a an island, a place to rest their own heads. Had 8.5 month gestation period, which for such a big animal, not particularly long. And similarly sized rhinos, almost twice as long, 16 months. So, after a decidedly unsuccessful morning in the west, I don't know if you can see here, I've come back to Timbavati and the cub. But they're in such long grass, they're making it very, very difficult to see them. I think they want to go to Mashatan Dam, but there's baboons there. But anyway, they are moving now, so it's just about to bemoan the fact that we can't actually see them, but they are up and mobile. You can see us standing in the shadows just in front of us. And there we go. That is apparently what a leopard looks like. I'm not going to lie, although I haven't been driving an awful lot, it has been about 10 days since I last saw a leopard. My last drive before going on leave, we had near Leti. Then I took a weekend off, Kruger, Manuleti, saw nothing, came back for a couple of days. There were leopards between drives, but never when I was driving, and then I guess for one night where we saw the black rhino, and unfortunately the leopards didn't show then. So I've managed to trick them into coming out at last. And here is the boy who is not wanting to show us his eye to see how it's doing. Another guide commented that the eye looked fine, which would be a miracle of sorts, but let us wait and see. Oh, stop doing that. Is that the gold of his eye coming back through? So that's the eye we are waiting to see. Is it going to open? So they don't always pose out in the open for us. Like my mom and dad falling asleep in front of the TV with their head getting heavier and dropping. But yeah, after having fed on a big male in part of the last couple of days, it's no wonder they're not in any mood to do too much besides rest like this. We have a little miracle here. So our leopard's eye that I was so sad about and convinced was gone appears to be back. So that is pretty damn remarkable. I was convinced the eye was done for. The vets looking at the photos I sent were convinced the eye was done for. And now it's back. It seems, I mean, you can see it does still appear a little bit deflated. There's still some appearance of injuries around it, but it's facing forward, it has a pupil and it's moving where the other one moves, so maybe, just maybe, this little guy is not going to have to go through life with one eye. How much exactly of his vision has been lost, if any, will remain open for debate, but that is fantastic. I'm glad I came and spent some time waiting here with them. It's really, they're lying in the shade there. It's a really bad view, right in the thickets, but every now and then they pop their heads up. But very fat, very well rested, and I think give them a couple more minutes before we leave them be. But glad I returned all the way to the east. I should have just stuck to the east in the beginning. Hey, that's why I come here. Everyone laughs at me all the time, but the east is always going to deliver, eventually. Little redback shrike has arrived now and has been calling its displeasure at the presence of these leopards, at tail bobbing. There's a warning indication too. So the autumn-like feeling of the morning, where it was crisp and cool, has long gone. The sun is now beating down on the back of my neck, and at the risk of becoming a prawn, a pink prawn, I'm going to be making my way back to camp. Yeah, really happy to see the leopard, and to see a leopard now with two eyes. As I say, time will tell whether it makes a full recovery, but it's definitely a better situation than I left him in last time I saw him. Yeah, I'll pop out again tomorrow or later, who knows. So don't turn off just yet, there's more to come. Coolness of a new day. I'm actually heading west again, even though it didn't produce much yesterday. It's because I didn't have my eyes open, or maybe he wasn't there. But when I was heading into Hoedspruit yesterday, out the reserve, found a male leopard with an impala kill up in the tree next to the road. Yeah, I obviously either didn't look in that tree or killed it during the day and hoisted it then. Either way, we're going to go see if he is still there, because we don't get to show you many male leopards on this program. So yeah, let's go check it out. Okay, so we have made it. I did rush because there was some amazing light with a beautiful dark background sky, and as I got here the sun went behind a cloud, so it's looking a little more drab than it was a few minutes ago, but I don't really think that matters, because here we have a beautiful big male leopard. I'll have to just double check on the ID of this guy. Potentially looks a little bit like Unsungwan. I can hear a hyena walking in the grass here. Unsungwan is Ntombi's second son, who's dominant male out in this western side. But his, although his general appearance looks the same, his spot patterns behind the nose are looking a little different. He's not really helping us, he's just sitting there panting, looking away. So this boy is still just resting, very fat-bellied in the tree. He's got his kill safely hoisted out of the reach of the hyenas that are prowling. Unfortunately, there's a bunch of bushes below the tree, and the hyenas are walking around in that. Give him a little bit of time, see if he does go and feed. I doubt he's going to come down now with the hyenas being present. He's got no reason to. So he's going to just rest off his fat belly there, and as always, just enjoy life at the top of the food chain, but he has got a bulging belly. So when it comes to identifying leopards, every leopard has its own unique spot pattern. And you can really choose any spots you want, but there are a couple that are much easier to simplify the process than others. So just because I said he has no reason to come down, he came down, and he dashed off to move away from the hyenas, ran behind a bush, and I have not been able to relocate him yet. I'll give him a few minutes. I wanted to say earlier, you know, leopards have unique spot patterns, so some of them are much easier to identify than others, but what we often do is just look for the spots behind the nose. They have from 1 to 5 spots, or 0 to 5 spots is what I've seen before, and Nsongwan has 2 spots on this side and 2 spots on that side. This leopard here has only 1 spot on his that side. So sometimes they get a scar or injury that actually removes a spot. I've seen that before. So leopards can change their spots, not willingly of course. But yeah, I'm not so sure. Looking at that behavior, and we're very close to our access road here, and I think it was because there were 1 or 2 vehicles that came past that maybe made him a little bit more nervous. So he jumped down and moved off. But we'll see if we can find him. Otherwise, when I get back, I'll post some photos of this leopard versus Nsongwan and see if they are the same. That's a woodpecker. Oh, look at this enthralling piece of video footage. That lump in the middle is a very content hyena, just resting in the long grass. Still not sure where this leopard got to, but almost back to the kill now. And you know, the grass is so long, they lie down in that and they disappear. But I take back what I said yesterday. I said it was much greener here along the river. It's green, but then so is it green along the rivers close to Tanda Tula safari camp, but away from that it's actually also relatively dry here. I thought I'd just come and check a nearby water hole. Possibly the leopard came for a drink here. And I got very excited when I heard movement through the grass, but it was a hyena coming. Now, although leopards don't have to drink when water is available, they will drink regularly. But hyenas seem to make more of a habit of coming to drink than their spotted cat cousins. So some very fresh tracks from another male leopard, which I suspect is actually in Nsongwan, coming down this road, so maybe we get lucky. Okay, we don't often get these guys perched so low down and so close to us. The stunning lilac-breasted roller. So we are right in our southwestern corner here. A little bit of congregation of some general game, the wildebeest and some zebras here. You may be able to hear an array of alarm calls from hornbills. These have been go-away birds, drongos, African grey hornbills, arrowmark babblers, all just shouting because of this guy, the beautiful Verreaux's eagle owl, sitting quite exposed, and that is what has, there's the go-away bird, that is what has given his presence away, or her presence. You see the size of those talons. One of our largest eagle owls suggests that they are large. One of the largest owls we have in the region, and the largest that we will see here. Though the Pell's fishing owl is bigger, you ain't going to be seeing that in the Timbavati. And gone. And so all the birds. They're just going to follow him to the next perch. Good sign that summer conditions are slowly leaving us, as is that steenbuck. But the fact that we're seeing them again, don't see many of them during summer, but they are here. As the grass fades away and dries out, they just become easier to see. Of course, standing on a road makes them a lot more visible, but yeah, you go for days, weeks without spotting them in the summertime. You almost forget that they're around until they start popping up now in autumn again. Just checking one more area. There was a report of a cheetah yesterday coming into the western parts of our concession, but no sign yet. So yeah, just gonna have one swing past Nkari's open areas and then head on home. Some big grey beasts. They've been very scarce lately. I know at the start of this episode we had that one little herd that crossed the road after dark, but yeah, by the numbers of elephants that we're so used to seeing, their numbers are very, very uncharacteristically low at the moment. Just seen our elephants, but driving further down the road, I don't know if it's the same herd or a different one, but we have got 1, 2, 3 marulas that have all been ringbarked. This one behind me, completely so. Look at this. You can see how they have completely ringbarked this, severing all connection between the roots and the leaves. There's material everywhere here, and it is this stuff that they're going for. This is still moist. This whole thing is still moist. They haven't even finished all of it here. But that's this pink stuff. This is what contains the nutrition. Unfortunately, elephants this year seem to have been going after these marulas in a far greater manner than I've seen in summertime anyway. And you kind of expect it in winter and in the early parts of spring, when the trees are starting to move the nutrients back up to the leaves. But to have this now in summer, especially a good summer when there's been so much rain, there's still so much vegetation around, I find quite surprising and very sad. It's geez, this marula tree would be probably well over 100 years old, and in a very short space of time, over the course of last night or this morning, these elephants have destroyed it, done and dusted. Okay, this one here is only partial, but also feeling the cambium layer. It's not nearly as moist. You can even see from the color, much redder. It's had time to dry. Those tannins, I'm assuming it's the tannins that color it that way, but have come to the fore, whereas the other one, that's pink and wet. But this tree will actually survive because the side has not been damaged, so there's still some ability for the tree to get moisture and nutrients up to those leaves on the top. And the third tree, also just like the first one, completely gone. You can see all the material around here, but like the second one, it's also not actually from last night. This is slightly older damage, but they've gone to town on it. And you can see here where the tusk marks have gouged in. Peeling this. Another big old tree, older than 100 years, and going to be left for the termites and wood borers to finish it off. I mean, it's still standing now, there's still greenery, but it won't be long before that eventually, without that protective layer, succumbs to the effects of these detritivores that eat the decaying matter. And yeah, the landscape that now has beautiful trees is going to be just back to a monotony of shrub once they disappear and fall down. So wonderful to see ellies again. Unfortunately, these ones are in pretty shrubby bush. Yes, I was going to say scrubby bush, but that's not right. Shrubby bush. And yeah, really difficult to actually film them amongst the bushes and the grass. So I think we're going to leave it at that. It's been a leopard episode with a few smaller things thrown in there. And if memory serves correct, I started off saying how the leopards weren't my friends. Well, at least they have shown themselves now, and hope you have enjoyed watching them and enjoyed a little bit of the Timbavati in your living rooms or bedrooms or wherever you are sitting enjoying this episode at the moment. But I'm going to say cheers for now. Till next time, take care, stay safe, and we'll catch up again same time next week. Cheerio.